Okay. What the welcome? That looks funny. Oh shit, don't miss me. Blink. It does. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to get into oh boy. Go here. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to get into okay. Just trying to get into okay. So here we go. Let's see. Where's my screen? Oh, okay. All right, hang on a second. Oh, it let me sign in. That's weird. Here we go. Let's see. Where's my screen? Hang on with me. Oh boy. I didn't even realize that was not open. Okay. Okay, I think I've hang on with me. There we go. Hi Marisha, how are you, hon? Hang on with me. Okay, that's funny. And this has to be unmute too. Just a minute. I'm getting there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, gee, that's funny. I didn't even need to open that one up. I'm sorry, I had to upgrade. I don't know if you I'm going to talk about this in just a minute, but um oh, I don't need to be in that. Looks like hi Winston. Oh good, Winston's here. Winston Strout's in the house. Okay, we're gonna get started. I'm running a bit behind here. Mark is not with us tonight. I'll just start like I normally do, then I'll make the announcement. So, hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. Oh, hold on, I can't do that just yet. Just yet. Here we go. Okay, record. Here we go. Hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher Louisa. Today is Friday, October 24th already, 2025. This is GoldFish Report number 1178. And this is a POTUS report tonight because Mark is not with us. He is under the weather. So he is taking it easy tonight and recovering. So it's just going to be us and a POTUS report and anything that you want to talk about. I don't think Mark is even going to be here next week either because I think he had some other previous plans. So we're just going to be doing some POTUS reports for a little while. I think everybody's going to like that. I want to welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I have some information, the sources that I have. There's so much going on. We're really waiting for the Clarity Act to be passed. That's going to finish the regulations with regard to the uh, digital currency, the regulations surrounding that, and I don't know when they're going to flip the switch, but we have to at some point do that. I don't think they're going to replace paper money. Maybe that was the deep state agenda, but I have to say that I don't I don't think they're in full control. I think you could see this. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Heidi. Hi, JJ. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, Marisha. Winston's in the house. So let's go down the intel, okay? Because I really want to make this very succinct. Um, there's a lot of connections with regard to Erica Kirk that I think there's a lot of people may not realize. Her grandfather, there's connections to the Knights of Malta and the Jesuits. And so if you know about that rabbit hole, then you know where that goes. Okay. Um, and there is really a war going on right now when it comes to the deep state between the Freemasons and the Jesuits. There's a a war for control, of course, and power. But that's what's happening within the deep state. They still have some power, but some things they don't. Little by little by little, they're losing power. And you really have to, realize that there is a massive global military operation going on right now. Um, a lot of things that we do not see, but we are starting to see it. It is starting to become more overt. We are starting to see troops on the street. We started to see the military and other members of law enforcement be deputized and basically able to arrest U.S. citizens. But we're talking about cabal. They're not like planning on arresting me. I hope not. But so that's why we are starting to see it more overtly. The meeting that Pete Hegseth had uh, drawn in, commanded all of the military generals to this meeting down in DC. I mean, look, there was a lot more discussed than obviously we know about. My sources are saying that they were briefed on what the Three-Eye Atlas actually is, um, and they made a plan, and that they're all aware of what it is. Of course, Trump is part of that as well. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit more. I'm just going to go through my intel here that I have. The underground wars, there's a lot of that going on, a lot of hidden tech connected to these underground tunnel systems and bases like Mount Hayes, which I've reported on before. And thanks to Storm Rider always for um, his messages. Holograms. Now, remember that holograms, hmm, there's a lot of technology that we're unaware of. Just, the military is definitely, eons ahead of us. Um, so with regard to 9/11, there's definitely technology that's used for very giant holograms. We've actually seen videos of that on TikTok. We've seen these huge holograms that look real. I mean, in fact, a hologram is like a column of light. So you can make the column of light so dense. Well, oh, we could become human. Are we columns of light in the smallest, atoms that exist in our bodies? Well, it's a good argument, right? But anyway, these hologram technologies are far more advanced than, Star Wars days. Remember those? Hi, Karen. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's keep going. Uh, so there was technology used. They can actually create like living monsters and even humans out of holograms. Uh, it requires a huge amount of energy. So that's really always a giveaway, as when there's all this new demand for energy and no wonder they want to monitor our carbon footprint, right? Because they want it all for themselves, right? These data centers, these AI data centers that Trump wants to, build, and they're building. I mean, it's a massive amount of electricity to power all of that. And also, it's going to take a lot of water and to cool these things down. Um, and that's why they want to ration us. So we'll see. Maybe what's going to happen with Trump, and what I think is going to happen with Trump, is that infinite energy technology will be introduced, and we won't worry about that ever. We won't ever worry about if we have enough electricity. And I know that that's coming. I don't know when, so don't ask me the date, because I don't know when. Uh, but a lot of this technology has to do with infinite energy, as I said, and how this infinite energy can create wormholes, and etc. Super magnets, super semiconductors to plasma. Folks, the technology that we already have is so much more advanced than anything that we can even imagine right now. Truly. I think the military probably went way, way, way far beyond the scope of the human imagination. So just look at the Star Trek and all these other sci-fis. I mean, maybe it isn't really sci-fi, right? So they have super magnets, all of this stuff, all this technology. I mean, when did we ever hear about super magnets and plasma energy, right? They do have technology to create physical holograms that you can physically touch. So it was, according to the wires, that the holograms, the planes were real, that they were operating, um, that these were operations that were being conducted, obviously. Um, and it looked like what, I can't independently verify this, but according to this source, Tower 7 fell free fall because, we all know nothing hit Tower 7 and it fell. So the problem with that was um I guess it was like the hologram was shut off, but this was probably the largest insurance fraud scheme ever known in history. They, Larry Silverstein got paid out billions of dollars a month before I mean, come on, folks, a month before 9/11, he takes out a new rider on his insurance policy for terrorist attacks. Nobody even heard of this before that. It's crazy. This all has to do with Raytheon and the military industrial complex systems, the deep state systems, living holograms, solid holograms, very advanced technology. Um, yeah, so think about it. Just think about 9/11 for a minute. And think about how every single piece of an airplane, and there's what, 7.5 million parts to an airplane, allegedly, maybe approximately, right? And they all have some sort of serial number or stamp or manufacturer something to identify what the part is. And not one part was found anywhere. Not in 9/11, I mean, not at World Trade Center, not in Shanksville, and not in DC. So these are just other facts to point out to understand and realize there's definitely, you know, there's an interest to cover up the truth. Obviously, that's not news. We've all known that, right? 9/11 commission was really just, it was all just like the Warren report. It was all fabricated. That's all. It's just a narrative, a script that was written in order to throw you off the trail. And that's what they did. Uh, Yeah, so they try to say, "Oh, the intense heat melted every single piece of that airplane, every piece except for that one engine that actually doesn't belong on the plane that's allegedly hit the tower. It was a different engine that this airline didn't use. American Airlines didn't apparently use this type of engine, but it was there. And of course, not a shred of evidence of an airplane, but there were passports. So, passports are indestructible. They will absolutely. So I mean, the whole thing is such a scam. And the only reason I'm kind of bringing it up is so that, it's really about critical thinking skills that we all really kind of need to start putting on it. And I'll tell you, they're very uncomfortable truths to realize, how our entire government has basically been living a different reality compared to the rest of us, and how we've just been funding it through our slave labor and keeping everybody in line. It's really not a very hospitable place. Um, I can see why uh, we haven't really been invaded yet. People are pretty crazy down here. But what's going on with, I mean, Candace Owens lately now is like really talking about this whole Charlie Kirk thing. And this whole, she's very much trying to bring attention to the whole turning point. Well, who's involved in that? What's going on with that? Knights of Malta. And so the fight again is over. It's all a narrative, trying to control the narratives. Trying to fight over the technology of who controls the world is really what it comes down to. And we have spirit entities and plasma entities that are helping the US military. The deep state doesn't have access to this tech. So that's why we know really that the deep state's not truly in charge of the overall plan, that there's very good, very high intelligences, plasma intelligence. When you get down to it, the information, you get down to the smallest molecular scale of consciousness, and it's like what starts life. It's a flash of light, right? So everything really is light. and or frequency rather, because then that translates into light in the visual spectrum. Um, but we also have yeah, we're going to start seeing a lot more of the exposure of Antifa, which we already have seen. Um, and this is part of why you're going to start seeing more military on the street, because we're going to be now that Antifa has been designated as a terrorist organization, it is going to get cleaned up. So we just needed to have more special trained people, and of course our military has been doing underground, inner city underground training for many years now. Honestly, the technology that we have, we can't even imagine. You can't even comprehend the kind of technology that our military actually has. Now, in terms of the Amazon servers that went down, it's all connected to military operations. It's connected to the operations in Tennessee with the AI system, the computer systems, the Space Force, Cheyenne Mountain, Huntsville. All this is going to telecom servers. Now all of this is going to expose all of that, and there's investigations going on with that. Uh, It does seem like Trump flip-flops a lot, but that's part of, that if you really understand warfare, I mean, that is part of warfare, right? Let me just see. Hi, Karen from Weather Beaten, New Zealand. Oh my gosh, are you guys doing okay down there, over there? Yeah? Yes, Cheryl, those passports, those were memes. I remember I was doing meme reports, and everybody had like, they someone did a meme of the Titanic underwater, and there was a passport laying right. Oh, but a passport survived off the deck. There was the memes all the time. Hi, Dan. How you doing? Yeah, like the Pentagon. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. There's still, a lot going on within the Pentagon too. There's still a big cleanup operation going on. Um, let's see. Trump is trying to fix everything. Uh, with trade. This a huge alliance that's happening, and he's not doing it alone. There's a huge alliance, and they are cleaning up. Just there's no way. I mean, look, we see James Comey was indicted. We see Bolton was indicted. We're today now on the actually local news. I'm hearing about police who are being uh police who are arrested. Police, what are you doing? Police were arrested with child porn on their computers or phones or something like that. And there's just so many of them. There's so many good ones, and unfortunately, they're going to be painted with the broad brush, and it's going to happen just about anywhere. Just like, well, the clergy. I mean, they're all they've known long history there, of pedophilia. So, um, but we do have. hmm, So all this does okay. So all right. So Mark Carney right now, is up in Canada, Mark Carney is being forced to play a part until all the corruption that's happening in Canada. And I feel so bad. I feel that my heart breaks for my Canadian friends and neighbors up there who are just going through this horrible, horrible, fascism up there, communism. I mean, it's just, I pray for you guys. I really do. But it's all going to be exposed, all this corruption. And it really had to be. Now, remember, let's see, in 3 days is the 8th-year anniversary of the first Q post. And Q had said this was an 8-year operation. So this is done. So what was Q doing? It was a information dissemination operation, right? From the military. Um, who is Q? Some people say Q is this person. Some people say Q is this person. I mean, Q for Quetzalcoatl sounds like, well, it would make sense, right? But isn't that serpent god from, Mayan times? And, look, I've interviewed other people who've got different opinions, but in the end, we'll find out, right? It doesn't really even matter right now. What matters is that contributed to the awakening to people who were already basically sitting at rabbit holes and needed a reason to go in and start digging and looking. And then all the other rabbit holes started to appear and everybody started digging. And that was really what the whole point of that operation was. It was to contribute to this great awakening, to see how we allowed ourselves to be really used and manipulated and deceived. Mark Twain once said it's easier to deceive people than to convince them they've been deceived. And it's so true. It is so true. So let's keep going. We have Army counterintel, civilian agents. They're all going to be backing up all these arrests that have been happening, different cities. So it doesn't happen all at once, right? They don't want to raise, flags of suspicion or insurrection or anything like that. But we are under laws of war. We are under the devolution plan, because don't forget, and I reported on it. I have to say, I think before most people did, but it's okay. Trump had made the one concession that he needed to in order to have a valid insurrection declaration. And he went back to the White House and made that video and told everybody to go home. And that's the requirement. That's the necessary piece requirement that has to be fulfilled in order for that insurrection declaration to be um, valid. Okay. Anyway, there's many different divisions with regard to the U.S. Again, National Guard, you've seen, local police, military, they have the power to arrest U.S. citizens. So Trump has done this in order to uh it's even biblical, right? Doesn't it say that they're going to bind all the, separate the wheat from the tares and all the tares are going to be bound? Well, maybe that's what's happening. Let's see, right? Leads to different powers when you have these declarations. When you have like the Insurrection Act, it leads to different powers, and with regard to the military. And this is interesting because we're still shut down. The government is still shut down. And so it does look like the military is still being paid, but Congress, I don't think Congress is. Maybe Congress is. Well, I know many people aren't, and that's just a problem. But there's a reason that Trump named Department of Defense Department of War, because this really is war. We are going down, and what's happening in Venezuela right now, this is all about Trump going after the cartels. And if people realized how much the cartels controlled governments, they controlled most of Southern California, they control, how can cartels do that? But that's what they do. They control the prisons. So there's really trying to avoid a big upset in the prisons out in the West Coast. That's what I'm hearing. Uh, in fact, Hell's Angels, so this is a biker group. Many are ex-military and ex-law enforcement, by the way. And they don't like these cartels operating in their cities and in their towns. And I guess they're going to take matters into their own hands. I mean, we are supposed to have a was it well-defined militia, or, everybody's supposed to have their own militia, every state. But they are planning, there's all plans behind the scenes to go after the cartels. This is what's bringing in the trafficking. It's what's bringing in the drugs. It's what's bringing in the crime. And so right now there's a huge division. Apparently the prisons could set off race wars connected to the gangs, because the gangs control the prisons mostly. Powers inside of prisons by running gangs, corruption, a lot of corruption with regard to this. And Trump was giving comms, and that we have to prepare for the next war that we're heading into if we want to clean up This is a massive cleanup operation, which I can confirm that from a completely unrelated source in another part of the world. It's just amazing. But I do know, and I've been reporting this for some time, that this is a massive cleanup operation. And it's also a disclosure operation at the same time. So it the powers that be decided it needed to go slow. Now, personally, you know, just just get it over with. Just do it, you know? There's a lot of people who are suffering, and I don't know how they're justifying allowing those people to suffer just to avoid other people from suffering. The normies, the Democrats, the liberals, whatever you want to call it, the normies, the NPCs, they're doing this for them. And they torment everybody else. I don't know. I don't make this up. So this is what's happening so that everything is done incrementally so people can process it, handle it, and incrementally be told the truth of what's going to be revealed. Now you hear of this judge, back to the Kirk issue, this Judge Tony Graff. Why were there all these searches done on him before the shooting from Israel? I mean, that's kind of strange. And a lot of other people were searching these people, the doctors and people who were involved with this event with Charlie Kirk, with regard to this Robinson guy, even before Charlie Kirk was shot. So uh, all of these people that are involved, you know, all these searches were done on all of this ahead of time. So it's suspicious as heck, right? And Erica Kirk, I don't know. I can't really, I don't know if I want to talk about this right now. I think I just need to collect a little bit more information. Everything she does really rubs me the wrong way because it just doesn't look real. It really doesn't. It does not look real. It is so insincere and inauthentic how she now what's interesting is that AI soon, I mean, do you think AI could ever make that kind of response, right? Could AI say, "Oh, you're being so insincere," or "You're being so, disingenuous"? I mean, but be ready. I mean, AI is emerging faster than most of us can think of. There's there's one news station in China that is fully AI. Everything is AI news. The whole thing, there's no people except for one human being that actually works there. And he's there to just make sure everything, I guess, runs properly. But if this AI was so great as they said, then why does a human even need to be there to manage? Because AI, there's limitations to AI, and it's that reality that they're never going to say to somebody, "You're being disingenuous." You know, you're you know, you're so insincere, or so they can't do that, right? They're not going to be able to do that. And so but this is where our technology is going. We have right now we have this technology called electrogravitics. So what this technology does is it's able to basically manipulate gravity. And a lot of people are thinking, so it's anti-gravity propulsion systems. The United States Space Force is contracting with companies. I think the company is called Gravitics, controlling all the satellites, and it's with and classified operations that are ongoing in space. There is a connection here to the Three-Eye Atlas, which I said at the beginning I was going to get to, and why Hegseth called all the generals together. So um, it's all related to the government shutdown as well, and all military operations that are going on behind the scenes right now. As you know, that the National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard has been talking about the things that she knows, the things that she's getting briefed on with regard to, um, UFOs or UAPs, whatever. Anna Paulina Luna, as you know, is also uh, holding UAP hearings in Congress, and also advanced tech She's discussing it on podcast. She was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about what she personally has seen, not what she believes, but what she knows, what she has seen. And of course, we all know Musk is also part of the military operations. In fact, my source says that Musk is a commander in the Space Force. And I know Space Force, I don't think they're all human there. I think we have some interesting ETs working in that operation. Anyway, gravitics manipulates matter and space, going into literally going into the atom's mass, into the quantum fields. Um, very, very powerful, powerful engine, powerful force of energy. Um, so with regard to this, apparently, the Alliance is controlling what's happening with regard to this information at Harvard. So most people don't know anything that's going on, but the military, my sources are saying, are in total control of Harvard. And with regard to under the continuation um, of government devolution plan behind the scenes, most people don't know, but we're talking about the Project Fire Sign, which I reported on, and a lot of people don't know what Project Fire Sign is, but I've reported on it many times. Some people know it as Blue Beam, but it was a little bit more than that. Actually, it was the Democrats. They Clinton Foundation had paid Benison Corporation to assess, Hillary Clinton's chances, what her obstacles were, what the salvage plan was with regard to getting, elected in the 2016 election. And this fake alien invasion was the salvage operation. It was the salvage plan for the Democrats to go to, because its technology has laser technology that frequency technology rather, that goes to the cerebral cortex, and it stimulates, it gives you like voice of God. It tells you, it stimulates an awe, a religious effect, but it also uses mind control frequencies, and you just, this is what they were willing to do to manipulate, to get the vote. I mean, I just can't believe people, I hope this information gets out there, because I am so censored. I do try to bring the truth to people, but I'm censored, so if you don't share it, it's not going to get out there. Anyway, um, so the deep state did have a plan, though, to pull off an alien invasion, a major threat from outer space, and they would have used a combination of holographic technology, of UFOs and all kinds of things, and real ones that we have that have been reverse engineered, that belong to the military industrial complex. I'm not a conspiracy theorist if I quote a former president. Okay. Um, it does look like the White Hats took control of this, because it's called Red Sky, Blue Sky events. So that, keep your eye open for that. It's all connected, because the U.S. Space Force is using this very advanced tech of gravitics to manipulate gravity. And then this gets very interesting. So it does look like that some people are saying that this gravitics technology is actually pulling 31 Atlas or 3I Atlas closer towards us. That's pretty powerful advanced technology, if that's the case. Electrogravitics is what it's called. Now, last reported, I had seen that it has its own, what is it, electromagnetic field. And so that's what's interfering with it's interacting with the sun's electromagnetic field. And so that's what's causing and triggering all of these sun events, these massive coronal mass ejections, these, uh, um, uh, thank God it's not Earth facing. In fact, it was facing Venus. So Venus has been taking the hit lately. Very, very large, coronal mass ejections, or solar flares, they're called too. So that's very interesting. I hope that that's, the case. It does, they are talking about this technology that is hard to believe. It's hard to believe that that would be a hologram there, but honestly, folks, anything's possible at this point. The military knows what it is. And they also know that this technology has atoms, like every atom has a universe within inside of it. Um, it's inside of frequencies. There's spiritual data, there's human data. So this is a very interesting aspect of this technology. This technology can interact on the atomic level with probably, I don't know specifically, but with a lot of substances and not just like physical things, spiritual energy. It can literally read the data, the spiritual energy we give off in our bodies, human data, ET data, God data, all kinds of things, electrical frequencies that are inside of atoms. So in other words, this technology is supposed to be able to read signatures of atoms that are floating in the, universe and know what the future, and we can tell the past. It can literally read what the path of that atom is. I mean, that's such advanced technology. I can't even imagine, but this is very, very it's very, very advanced outside of Earth, I guess, beyond whatever barrier there is there. God knows there's a barrier. You wouldn't want us getting out anytime soon, right? Um, it's just infinite. It's just infinite. There's parts of outside of this, world where it's just infinite. We're all interconnected in this quantum field, as we all know, the electrical waves. There's infinite wormholes moving data and frequencies. This electrogravitics, again, it manipulates gravity and it has the power to access the past, the present, and the future. And I guess the present, I don't know if they refer to this as the singularity event, but very interesting. It's records of every human. So, and these, I guess, go into the Akashic records, records of God knowing everything, that there's a meaning to everything that humans have to go through. And even though we don't understand it, the demons watch as well. They know a lot. Um, but inside of these atoms, it's carrying information that came from different dimensions, quantum jumping, timeline jumping. It's interesting. Timeline mechanics, the whole thing. You can see some of that on the Schumann frequency because you can see these black lines usually represent a timeline jump or timeline change. The electrogravitics, it's very powerful living computers. Trump is using these living computers to explain what will happen inside okay, so Trump is using it, and it's explaining what's happening in the Middle East, and part of the alliance is connected to this super advanced technology. So there's very significant things and events that are going to happen in the Middle East that I don't know what they are just yet specifically, but I will let you know. The United States Space Force, super advanced technology under Shasta, under Mount Hayes, um, Hawaii, and under Huntsville, Eglin Air Force Base. These systems are very sentient, living being, advanced computer systems. Is that AI? I don't know. Living being, sentient? Interesting. So basically they're referring to like these plasma balls of like it's such high intelligence that it doesn't even take a form, but except a ball of light, right? Can pull information from space and time and atoms and can see future events. So the United States Space Force is controlling operations, controlling Harvard, controlling satellites, and controlling all this that's happening. And even with regard to this three-eye atlas. So just so you know, this is not some random thing that's showing up. This is going to be, they're going to be using this as part of this awakening process. The deep state had different plans. The deep state was going to use this fake alien. They wanted to have a fake alien invasion, but they wanted some of it to be real. They wanted to use real real craft with lasers and have destruction. They wanted to kill most of humanity with it. But they're not gonna get their way. Yeah. Pulling across the universe. So the electrogravitics is supposedly pulling the three-eye atlas across the universe. Interesting. This sounds like almost magnetic, right? You'd have to have like a magnetic thing, a magnetic attraction for that. So the CMEs, the sun flares, as I said, are all connected, and it's responding to what's happening. So it's very interesting information that's happening. I don't know the timeline in terms of when these events are going to happen, but they're definitely talking about the mind control involved in that technology that they wanted to, the blue beam, things of that nature. So the White House, they know about this. They captured it. So it's a captured operation, whatever was going on, whatever started with it, and it will bring into disclosure. And people can slowly integrate these things into the reality. And I think that's just, um, you know, there are ETs, there's super intelligence, there's smart water, there's smart sand, there's stuff we can't even imagine. But slowly, and it will all come together slowly. I'm going to just check in with the chat because I haven't been able to read it without my glasses here. Okay. Musk's birth certificate. Winston, that's a really great question. I think this is Musk 2.0, by the way, because he doesn't look like, I used to make facial prosthetics, so I could tell you he doesn't look like the first Musk. He doesn't. Distinct changes in this present man, and it's not just, getting older. It is just not the same person. Can I say? It makes it look very interesting. Okay, book supposedly written by Jesus was called Q. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the book written by Jesus was called the Book of Q, exactly. So is that who Q is? It's hard to say. I mean, it's anybody's guess really until we find out. Yeah, like anyone can do a citizen's arrest. Yeah, but I don't think the military can do it if they're acting in military without these is that right, Winston? Without having these special powers through the devolution plan, right? So let's see this yourself applicant, right? Well, yeah, Tesla was a Venusian. Yeah, exactly. Look, there's definitely been. You think Musk is a Venusian? Interesting. It's funny because I even have a video of him. I wasn't expecting to talk about it, or I would have had it ready, but gravity travels 26 times the speed of light. Wow, that's interesting. So this is a pretty massive advanced technology. I wonder, this is just a thought. I wonder if this sudden second moon we have was some kind of test, beta test. I bet you it was. I bet you it was them testing these super magnets and to see if they using these gravitics technology to see if they could pull objects close to them, close to us, to our orbit. Oh my gosh. I suppose it's probably very likely on that. So, uh, Trump, as you know, is building a ballroom. I really think this is superfluous. As a real estate developer and now president, he wants to leave his legacy. This is his legacy he wants to leave here. And in a personal way, as a developer, why not, add some kind of structure to, make your mark? But I just think the timing is wrong. What do you guys think? Do you all think the timing's wrong on it? Like, we need to have relief. We need to have when he passed the executive order for seizing assets of people who were involved in trafficking and crimes against humanity. Once all those assets came in, they should have been refunded to us, the people who they stole it from. I think that's the plan, but boy, are they like, you don't have to be slow. I'll tell you, the government does not have to be slow with refunding that payment. That's really not, I get, is that part of the disclosure? I don't know. Are they going to say, well, this refund, but we know we're collecting tariffs. So where's the tariff refunds? Where's the, it's like, I don't like that either. I don't like how he flip-flops. I particularly don't like what's going on in Gaza and his support of what's been happening there. And I think I definitely have a big problem with that. And I think a lot of people do. Um, so he is putting this ballroom on to entertain dignitaries who come in. I'm sure it'll be beautiful, but it's the I don't know if you've seen any pictures of the West Wing lately, of the Oval Office rather, but it's I don't know, it's starting to look a little gaudy, if you ask my opinion. Yeah, there's more to the ballroom. There's actually, yeah, yeah. I think what they're actually doing is maybe that's an excuse to rebuild after they I think this is more, I heard something about there being some sort of cornerstone that had to be removed because of, I don't know, some it's free Masonic or something. Is it related to the underground tunnels where they were trafficking children? Can you imagine? People can't even imagine how disgusting our world leaders have acted, how horrible they have been, how evil, really, living backwards. Li live backwards is evil, right? That's what the word is. Sorry, I had a piece of hair in my mouth. I did hear that it has to do with the trafficking and that there's something else, maybe even more symbolic going on with that too, Karen. So I've heard that. And I have been a very busy bee lately myself. Let's see. Let's just check something out here. Yeah. This is in case you haven't seen it. Uh-oh. Oh, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to screen share. Uh, yeah. You know what? I've been very busy updating my computer systems and everything, and now for some reason the screen share function's been turned off. So I don't look, it doesn't look like I'm able to screen share anything. Um, but I'm going to say this. I'm writing a lot lately. I'm going to be publishing a very long series on artificial intelligence and what the current theory is in communication regarding that, and some actual, stories and stuff about um, deep fakes, the Facebook papers, the algorithms, the whole thing, everything to do with digital media and that digital realm. So I'm just surprised that I can't screen share this. Let me see. Wait, where'd it go? There it is. I'm going to try one more time, see if I can screen share this. And I think no, I can't. I have to open system settings to do it. Can you believe it? I'm not going to do it now. So just never mind. Well, look, that's all I have for tonight. Um, I want to thank everybody for coming by. I wish I had electrogravitic jetpack since 1992. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be publishing these articles on my blog on, what is it? The Goldfish Report blog. I haven't posted anything on there in quite a while. I've been very busy. That was just had to take a back seat. I'm not sure if I'm going to publish it. I don't think I'm going to publish it on the whitehouseblogger.com because that's another blog that I have. But this will be the Goldfish Report. You can find the blog link in the description section of the videos. I'm going to be publishing more there. I'm not quite sure how much I'll be publishing on X. Oh, X is just really being a real pain in the back, the backside. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys want to know, things about AI, you want to know things about what's happening. I mean, there's even super AI coming, which is even more super advanced, more it's just something that has to actually, I published extensively on what regulations already exist regarding the use of artificial intelligence, um, and issues pertaining to artificial intelligence. It really does come down to, personal responsibility, how much you want to be connected to that kind of system. It's great to use as a resource, but when people start getting carried away with it, then um, it gets crazy. I mean, there was a boy who committed suicide. He had a chat bot, an AI chat bot, and he was just, I think he was autistic and or on the spectrum in some regard, but he was able to communicate with this chat bot and even get into very intimate conversations, and the chatbot, I don't know why, but it kind of told him, oh, the guy, I think the kid said kind of, uh, he's like, oh, maybe it doesn't matter that I'm not here. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe, I should just, you know, blank, myself and unalive myself or whatever. And the computer told him, yeah, maybe you should. And the kid did. So, I mean, parents really have to understand really how, serious this artificial intelligence stuff is, and how getting on these gaming, pro software games, and the these chat bots and these social there's companies out there who are making this like companion software for people, because they said there's a lot of lonely people in the world who need companionship, and they're really preying upon the insecurities of these people. It's not good. It's not good at all. So we have to be very careful, because when you start developing emotional bonds to this artificial intelligence, it goes too far. And there's been some, bad reports. So I'm going to publish about that. I've got all of that stuff written already. Um, yeah. I'm going to sign off because I'm done for tonight. I'm done with the report. As I said, Mark was not with us tonight because he was feeling under the weather. He won't be with us next week either. So next week will be another POTUS report on Facebook. But I want to thank everybody who has joined me tonight. Sorry I couldn't screen share, but I had to update my computer software like 5 times. And every time I did that, it made change. It's just, how that goes. So I have to go in there and change those settings as I see, and I'll have that ready for you. But I will be back next week, next Friday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And thanks to everybody who joined us in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, I hope you all have a great weekend. And hang in there. Just remember, just get some extra water, some extra food. I didn't really talk about the financial situation yet, but look, we know at some point a switch will be flipped, and not everything's going to go, s- perfectly smoothly. There's going to be, right now we've got people all being cut off from their EBTs, and they're on TikTok threatening that they're going to, attack people and take their groceries and start stealing in the stores. And just be careful out there. Okay. Watch your back. There's a lot of policy changes that are happening, and there's a lot of consequences to that. And, it's funny how Antifa always finds money to go burn down a city or something, right? So you guys have a great weekend. And I may even publish it in the all right. You guys look here. Let me see how you no, you can't. You can't. I can't screen share. Darn. All right, guys. So you have a great weekend. I'm gonna go. We'll see you next week. Until then, this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.